Ravens fans, let's beat the Browns again. As you can see, we have about 1,000 less subscribers than our Browns channel. And I don't know about you, kind of rubs me the wrong way. So before we get into today's show, I want you to click the subscribe button, tell your friends about it. Let's go ahead and beat the Browns on and off the field. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, Ravens Overreaction Monday. And I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all. These might be my favorite videos to do because when I think of an overreaction, I'm going to be a little hot takey. These takes that I have are going to be spicy. So just stay tuned, watch everything we got seeing, because the Ravens, they took down the Cleveland Browns in, I'll be honest, a very ugly AFC North game where Baltimore took them down 16-10. This was not really a good game for either offense, no doubt about it. You can tip your cap to the defense if you want, but at the end of the day, you had Lamar Jackson struggling. Devonta Freeman, I don't really think that he looked as good as what he has in the past. Luckily, though, you got Mark Andrews, who we'll talk about to see if he's the best tight end in the NFL or not. So what I want you guys to do right now is go ahead and like the video for the Ravens being able to get it done on Sunday Night Football. When all eyes are on you, that's really when you're looking for your stars to be able to come out. And if you watch the game, you're like, you know what? The Ravens probably played their C effort. And if a C effort type of game is good enough for you to come away with a W, I think that speaks volumes of how good your team actually is. So I have 4 overreactions here on today's show. And the first one's going to be around quarterback Lamar Jackson, because I go on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, hit me up, MitchellRents365, and I'm searching for some stories, and one of the very first stories that I saw was around Lamar Jackson taking a step back. He's regressing. There's been multiple reports out there that he's about to sign the biggest contract in Ravens history, which he absolutely should. But when you look at these numbers here against Cleveland, 20 of 32 for only 165 yards, so you want to talk about Dinkin and Duncan, 1 touchdown, and then 4 interceptions. When I think about Jackson as a starter throughout his entire career, I did not include his rookie numbers, which he had 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But what about in 2019 when this guy won NFL MVP? 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3,127 yards, 66.1 completion percentage. Then in 2020, the completion percentage, it goes down. Touchdowns 26, 9 interceptions. Still pretty solid for a quarterback who can run the way Jackson does. But then this season, 64.2, 15 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So here's the multi-million-dollar question, and I want every single person who comes across this video to go ahead and give me an answer here. Is Jackson regressing as a passer? And I'm actually being told right now by my producer, this is going to be the pinned comment. So every single one of y'all that come across it, you're going to see this as the pinned comment. Type Y for yes, N for no, while you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break. Is Jackson regressing as a passer? All right, the next story coming up here is around Mark Andrews. And is this dude the best tight end in the NFL? Me included and a lot of other NFL media analysts, when they talk about the best tight ends in the league, the names that are always brought up, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, George Kittle. I'm starting to really sit here and wonder why Mark Andrews isn't in that discussion. And for most Ravens fans, you're like, wait a minute, he's not in that discussion? I really think if you were to ask most people, Andrews wouldn't be in the top 3. Now, this past week, he had 4 catches, 65 yards, 16.2 yards per catch, which is very productive, and then 1 touchdown. When you look at the most tight end receiving yards this season, the only dude that he's behind is Travis Kelce. And I'll also say this, I think Kelce is a better pass catcher than Andrews. However, Andrews might be the better overall blocker. So for that discussion, shouldn't he be above guys like Waller? Shouldn't he be above guys like George Kittle and the tight end conversation? So what do you think, guys? Type 1 for yes or 0 for no. Is Mark Andrews the best tight end in the National Football League? Because far too often fantasy football skews what people believe of a player. And like I said, Kelce, I believe, is actually a better pass catcher. But the Chiefs' offense, Patrick Mahomes, they have a lot more yards. He's got the exact same amount of touchdowns as him. If you put Mark Andrews on the Chiefs, would it be a lot different of a number? 1 for yes, 0 for no. I'm going to go ahead and say no, he's not the best tight end in the league because I still think that job or that role belongs to Kelce. But I really, truly believe you have to put him in the top 3 now. Darren Waller deserves to be up in that list. And when you look at a talent standpoint, George Kittle has all the talent in the world. But you have to be able to stay on the field. And one thing that Andrews absolutely has over somebody like Waller, who's going to be missing a few games this week, and even George Kittle, he stays on the field. Now, I'm not always the biggest fan of PFF. Realistically, I think the only thing that they do really, really well is their offensive line grades. Besides that, I mean, let's be real here. Now, he is rated the number 1 tight end according to PFF with a 90.3 grade. All I'm saying is this. Mark Andrews is one hell of a tight end, and I actually think he deserves a little bit more credit. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I always have a hard time shopping for my dad, my mom. I don't have any brothers or sisters, but I would imagine it'd be hard shopping for them. If you got a special Ravens fan in your life, I want you to listen the heck up right now. We got Ravens hoodies up to 50% off. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Ravens hoodie. So we got unbelievable deals. There's a whole bunch of different hoodies, by the way. And also, if you use code Monday at checkout, and if your order is over $75, you're actually going to get an additional 20%. So it's chatsports.com/Ravens hoodie. For whatever reason, if you can't remember that link, it's going to be in the comments. It's going to be in the description. Shout out to everyone watching right now, and go ahead, get set up for the holidays. All right, the next story coming around here is around Rookie of the Year candidate Odafe Oweh, and does he deserve to be in this conversation a little bit more? When he was drafted out of Penn State, the biggest knock on him was, he can't get any sacks. He didn't have any at Penn State. Unbelievable athlete, and I said this, if I was Odafe Oweh, the number 1 team that I would want to go to, the Baltimore Ravens, for everything that they are able to do for an edge rusher linebacker, and also the fact that Matt Judon was going. So this game up against the Browns, 2 tackles, 1 sack. But his disruption, his athletic ability, man, it shows way too often. That sounds bad. It just shows really, really frequently. I mean, look at some of these numbers here. 21 tackles, 13 quarterback hits, 5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. Now, I get it. He's not on the field maybe as much as some of these other people, but at a position that's really dominated out of the award that really goes to edge rushers, guys that get sacks, it does not surprise me that Odafe Oweh is at least top 3 in terms of the overall odds for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, sure, Micah Parsons at -400. He leads all rookies with 9 sacks, and he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He is absolutely the front runner, but I am saying this. I really do believe if the Ravens go ahead, they win, they're the number 1 seed in the AFC, and then you can continue to see him get better and get closer to Micah Parsons in that sack number, there should be no reason why he shouldn't be absolutely more in this conversation. So what % chance does Odafe Oweh have to win Defensive Rookie of the Year? When we give percentages and chances, honestly, anything over 10% would be a really, really big number. I'm probably going to go ahead and say around a 5% chance that he's going to be able to get this done. Not because I don't think the talent's there, but because of, I just think it's going to end up going to Micah Parsons. But he is a phenomenal player, and I'm a Penn Stater at heart. The final, overreaction here on today's show is this. Will the Ravens finish as the number 1 seed in the AFC? Right now, as it stands, they're 8-3, coming off a big win up against Cleveland Browns. And yes, as it stands right now, they are the number 1 seed when you look at the NFL playoff picture. The New England Patriots also sitting at 8-4. The Titans at 8-4. The Kansas City Chiefs sitting there at 7-4. And then when you're going through here, you're looking at some of these wild card teams. You got the Bengals, the Bills, the Chargers. The only reason why I'm not 100% sure whether they're going to be able to get it done, their remaining 6 games is an absolute gauntlet. I mean, look at this. Week 13 up against the Steelers, 5-5-1. That's the worst team that they're going to probably play. Week 14, the Browns, 6-6. Week 15, the Green Bay Packers at 9-3. The Bengals at 7-4. The Rams at 7-4. Then the Steelers again, 5-5-1. All 6 teams that the Ravens are going to be ending up going up against have a chance to make the playoffs. 6 playoff games. All I'm saying is that's not an easy thing to do, especially when, let's face it, Baltimore's not playing their best football right now. So it's crystal ball time. And I want you to look into it. Tell me what you're thinking. I want you to predict the Ravens' record when you finish out the season. I'm going to sit here, and I went through the schedule. I'm going to say that they win 12 games, so they're going to go 12-5. If out of the 3 games that I showed you, right, I see them losing to the Green Bay Packers, and I see them losing to the Rams. So that puts them there at 12-5. But realistically, if you can go 12-5, I still think that's going to be good enough to finish the number 1 seed. The Titans have fallen off, though their schedule gets easier. The Patriots, they play the Buffalo Bills twice. I don't see them winning both of those matchups. So there is an opportunity to definitely sit here and think, yes, the Ravens can get that first round bye and be the number 1 seed. Now, if y'all made it this far in the video, remember, we are 1,000 subs. Yes, 1,000 subs behind the Browns channel. We're like 2,000 subs behind the Steelers channel. Let's not have that happen. So if you guys please send the link below, youtube.com/RavensTV, to a few Ravens fans. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy November, and we only got a few days left of this bad boy. Go Ravens, see if they can be the number 1 seed.